So my company is REvolve You. I help parents relaunch their careers after taking time to raise their children. I take a pretty unique and different approach. I mostly center around the idea of mindset. That is very important for us to dig deep and really understand what it is that we believe about ourselves and our environments and our worlds that might hold us back from achieving our dreams. And if you're interested in finding out more about the program, definitely encourage you to talk to my graduates that are here. And I'll talk a little bit more as we go on. Washington technology industry. Okay, so first of all, I want to start with women. Women by the numbers. Did you guys know we are officially 51% of the population? Whoop, whoop. Good. 60%, we are 60% of all the undergraduate and graduate degrees coming out of colleges. And 52% of all professional level jobs are held by women. And yet women make up only 15% of executive positions, 8% of the top earners, and only 5% of the Fortune 500 CEOs are women. Since 2003, we have been doing studies. In 2005, we did studies. In 2007, we did studies. In 2011, and in 2012. And in all of these studies, it was shown that if you had more women on your executive leadership board, your company would become more profitable. There is a positive correlation between profitability of a company and innovation in a company if you add women to your executive board. So, we're highly educated. There's a lot of us. It's profitable. It makes sense to put us into business. But we aren't there. Why? Why aren't more women in senior leadership levels? This is an extremely important question to ask, and I don't think we're asking it enough. I am a former engineer. I told my architect friends out there that I would say that. So I have been in the role of fighting for a women's place in a man's world for a long time. I started programs. I was one of 6 women in a class of 93 pursuing a mechanical engineering degree in 1992. And I taught women, young women, I started a program to teach young girls how to pursue math and science degrees. I was told that I was not allowed to wear pants in my suit, or I could not wear a pantsuit the first day that I went to work in 1992 in my consulting company. I quickly went home, I tossed my skirts away, and I walked back in the next day in a pantsuit. HR came to talk to me. I said, I'm sorry, this is all I have. Guess what? More women followed. And within 3 months, we had a new policy. Women were allowed to wear pants. So I've been breaking boundaries and pushing limits pretty much since I was in college. I was Miss Goody Two-Shoes in high school. I never broke a rule. I don't know what happened in between. So this question is important. And for me, it is all about this idea of looking at a little bit bigger picture. So here's the big thing. When we get to an age where we finally are at a place where we are a senior leader, we're ready to be senior leaders, or we have become a senior leader, this is what happens. I did this 3 times. And it kind of rocks your world just a little. So guess what? I was out for 10 years. There's a lot more to that story, but that's not what today's about. Point is, for women everywhere, this is a little disruptive. Thankfully, I'm not alone in this, because it's a journey we need to do together. 43% of all mothers leave work voluntarily during their careers at some point. 43%. Women lose about 4% of their wage earning capacity for every child they have. and men increase their wage earning capacity by 6% for every child they have. What the heck? Sorry, that doesn't make any sense to me. Lots of companies are making strides to implement paid maternity leave. In fact, tech companies are leading the charge, which is really exciting. By the way, did you guys know that the US is one of only 3 countries in the entire world? Oh, now 2? Of course, this person would know. One of 2 countries in the entire world that does not have mandated paid maternity leave. What? Okay, Maddie, what's the other one?
Papua New Guinea.
That's awesome. Us in Papua New Guinea. So, who is it that is making huge strides? Well, we have companies like Google, Facebook, Patagonia, Adobe, Microsoft. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have just implemented a huge one, like 1 year's paid. Does anybody know the actual details on this one? 52 weeks of paid maternity leave from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for Women. Woo-hoo! Amazing. And if any of you guys have seen what Patagonia is doing or what they have been doing to support their parents, rock on. Amazing. Start looking it up and you'll see some incredible stuff. So these companies are definitely doing some major, they're helping out a lot. The other thing that is happening is confirmation bias. Little story, that's my son, he's 8, sitting at dinner, and he says, Mom, well, you know, men do the real work, and women, they do the laundry and they take care of kids. What? I'm sorry. And I had, composure. Huh, really, Cormac? So, what does Mom do? Oh, you do the real stuff too, Mom. You do real work too, but that's because you're divorced. This is very interesting to me, coming from a child whose most of his friends have parents that work. He has also seen me, half of his life I was a full-time parent, and half of his life I have been working. So to me, what this let me know is that this belief that women are associated with the home is so strong that it's affecting even my 8-year-old, despite the fact that it goes against what he sees. If any of you are familiar with Anthony Grunwald's work, Blind Spot, the implicit association test, anybody know this? Check it out if you haven't ever. Go ahead and take the test. You'll be shocked at your own implicit bias towards women at home and men in career. This is a part of the problem. Companies are implementing incredible programs today. I have been a part of them in the last couple of years when I was working for a training company. I was implementing diversity inclusion initiatives and different cultural change initiatives to help really start breaking down these confirmation biases, these ideas that men are the only ones that are deserving to be in leadership positions. Companies are making strides, but it's not enough. We have a stalled revolution. The number of women that are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies has not gone up. In fact, it has gone down in the last couple of years. It has been frozen or gone down. The number of women that are staying and choosing to be full-time parents has gone up, not down. We are choosing 70% of moms would choose to work full or part-time or not at all during the years that their kids are young. 70% of us do not want to work full-time. That's an interesting statistic. And to me, I kind of want to say I'm not so sure about that. Is it that we really don't want to work full-time, or is it that we don't want to work full-time in the work environments that are available to us? This is my child. At 3 months old, she had massive reconstructive heart surgery. This is the kind of stuff that happens to parents that completely diverts us from any other idea or goal or priority in our life. There is no way I could have held on to a career during this time. This is normal life. Parents are crazy when we have our kids. There's so much happening. It's wonderful and exciting, but we need flexibility. We are not digging deep enough to ask the questions of how do we create environments that work for parents. Anybody know what this is called? Espalier, yes. So espaliers are trees, apple trees, all kinds of trees, that are completely trained to grow in a certain direction. I use this analogy with my Parent Revolution program, parents, and it's a very good one, and I want to use it tonight too. This is the idea that throughout our lives, there are things around us that control how we grow. Whether it be the parents that we have, the friends we have, the schools we went to, the church that we went to, they all build up certain kind of walls and restrictions around us. And they say, hey, you know what, Sally or Susan, you're meant to grow this way, so you grow this way. And another one says, you're meant to grow this way, so you grow this way. And we create ourselves into the mold of the environment that we are in. And yet a funny thing happens. How many of you guys have ever had one of your very carefully pruned branches break? What happens when it breaks? Julie, back in the back, what happens when it breaks? Can't do it right now. Splinters. Everything, destruction, loss. And suddenly, when we finally hit a point of regrowth, what happens is that we grow into the natural state that we were supposed to be in the first place. We might want to kind of grow back into that controlled state, but oftentimes, if we're lucky, we grow into this natural state. We create a new form. I want us to think about work this way. I want us to break the branches of work. The world has changed hugely, and you all know it. I call it hugely. I call it the me economy. We are about me. I want everything delivered to me when I want it, exactly the way I want it, and I want it now. But I also want my job to be like that, and I want my life to be like that, and I want the opportunities there for me because I want to live my life according to my own values. Malcolm Gladwell talks about the 75 richest people in human history, starting with like pharaohs. And 14 of these people, the richest people in the entire course of human history, existed and were born within 9 years of each other. Anybody care to guess when that was?
Before English.
Industrial Revolution. It was a time in life when literally all of the rules of the current economy were broken. Because the Industrial Revolution changed everything. We are now in the technology revolution, and it is changing everything. This is an exciting time to be in, but the only people that are going to really succeed in it are those that are able to adapt and break the rules of how they used to think and start thinking to the future. We are at an incredibly exciting time. There are three major forces that are converging. Us, over there to the left, actually you're right there, women. Women who are highly educated and have been raised to believe that they were problem solvers, critical thinkers, and influencers of their communities and their environments and their work, and the ability to become anything they want to be. This is new and different. But now we've gotten into a role. We're raised up to high enough levels of leadership that we are actually having effect on our own teams. We can push down changes on our own teams and create our own rules. This is a powerful time. Millennials, oddly, are also on board with this same idea of creating balance. Not just oddly, but very conveniently, that they and parents and millennials are kind of pulling in the same direction. And millennials are a force to be reckoned with. They are so different than us. And I say different because it is not worse, they are different. They were raised with technology in their hand. It is a sixth sense. They literally have a different way of interacting with the world that they were born with. And it changes the way they think. And it's on us to figure out how to adapt to that. The third one is technology. Technology is finally at a level where we can create virtual collaboration tools that are opening up the doors for all kinds of new ideas when it comes to work. These three powerful forces, along with the recent ignition or light of fire of Trump getting elected, hello women rising everywhere, that has just been the catalyst for incredible change. We have an entire country of women that are asking for something different. Woo! It's time to change our deeply held beliefs and biases around 1950s imagery and philosophies. I would like, if we see this image, instead of thinking that this is the 1950s housewife who wears the most beautiful dress ever in order to do her laundry, that really this is a woman that's about to dump her child into her husband's arms and saying, I got a board meeting, see you later. Don't forget to use cold. So my challenge to all of you guys, and to really the whole country, is to please start to question the value of the time we spend as parents. The number one thing, or the first thing that I see we've done is we've implemented paternity leaves. That is the most innovative thing we have done. Why is paternity leave so inventive? And why does it break down barriers and help us really move this forward? Anybody care to say? Yeah.
Well, because
Teresa.
it helps create empathy.
Exactly. Creates empathy. Anything else?
Establishes a 50% responsibility in caring for your child.
Yeah. Hello. Parenting is a dual thing. There has to be a boy and a girl. Well, I mean, at least to kind of create the thing.
Team sport. Team sport.
But this is not just a woman thing, and I applaud the men that are here in this room. Yay, men. Thank you for being a part of this. Woo! Because this is not just a female thing. This is something that we need to change the way we think about parents. Because guess what? If dads stand up and say, yes, parenting is really important, that changes everything. The other thing that I have learned, I lost my thing somehow. Hold on. The other thing I've learned, as these little munchkins, spending time with them is not only good for them, it's good for our community, and it is also good for you. Not only emotionally, but in the last couple years working with these senior executive leaders, I noticed something. I was teaching senior executive leaders the same skills that I developed and all of you have developed while being a parent. What? What do you mean you don't know that that person is not the same as that person? I don't understand. That's differentiated development. Every mom can tell you that. There were so many parallels, it was shocking. So guess what? It also makes business sense for you to spend time as a parent. So that's why I do Revolve You. I help parents look at what their value is, the business value of the time they spend as parents. And if you're interested in learning more about that, I have programs starting in January, and I'd love to have more of you come and join me. So for me, I believe in systems. Like I said, I was an engineer. There are 3 different areas that we have to look at. One, I am really working in this parent perspective, the shift of self. I want to shift the way parents look at themselves. But I also want to shift the way that the world thinks about parents. And for that, I'm hoping to launch a podcast in January, and I'm writing. The third piece is the new working models figuring out ways to create working environments that are aligned with the needs of parents, and that's the reason for doing the Workplace REvolution and this event. So the second challenge question I have for all of you is question your definition of work. That's your task for today. Because this is not the definition of work any longer. We don't work just 9 to 5. We are connected all the time. But something's got to give. All right, Workplace REvolution, here we are. Our panelists. Maddie Arvald, you want to raise your hand, is with Leave Logic. And I'm going to let them all talk about themselves just a little bit. Michelle Duffy over here is with Google. Meredith Bogus is with Microsoft. I said your name wrong, didn't I? Say Bogus, sorry. Bogus. And Jessica Jobs is right here, and she's with On the Grid. So I'm going to pass it over to them to introduce themselves.